So friends, in this video we will discuss about the loan transactions as mentioned in the Yajnavalkya Smriti. Now the first thing is the existence of this particular subject in Yajnavalkya Smriti itself goes to show us as to how old the concept of loans exists. It is not that after the Money Lenders Act came, that is a recent phenomena. But as far as the loan transactions are concerned, giving loans, this was an act which is in existence since years together. So let us see what is this loan transactions. In case of mortgage, 80th part of the value should be considered as an interest to be charged per month. For example, if the mortgage value is rupees 100, then the rate of interest would be 1.25% per month. Now coupled with that, there are certain other provisions which are mentioned, and that is extra interest to be levied on certain persons. Why? We will see later. 10% for person who for his work goes to dense forest. 20% for a person who travels by ship in ocean. Probably the Yajnavalkya Smriti thought that a person who is going to dense forest or a person who is traveling by ship, either he may get expired or he may not come at all, and that is why this extra rate was being levied by Yajnavalkya in his Smriti regarding the loan transactions. Let's see further what he speaks. When the lender is recovering the loan from the borrower by following rules and regulations, in such case, king will not interfere in the recovery process. So obviously the lender had a right to recover his loan, and if he is following a proper process, king will not interfere. I think identical to what we have today, the recovery laws, that the lender, the financial institution, maybe bank, maybe NBFC, maybe credit society, who lend money, and when they follow a due process to recover that money from the government, from the borrower, the government does not come in between. Another aspect is, if king does the recovery of loan, then in such circumstances, borrower would pay 10th part of loan amount to the king, and lender would pay 5th part of a loan amount to the king, as showing their devotion towards the king. So what is this, friends? This is something like the recovery charges. This is nothing but king charging recovery charges to both the parties, to the borrower as well as to the lender. So these are recovery charges which are being levied and mentioned in Yajnavalkya Smriti. Now there is another aspect, and that is when interest is not to be paid. What is that? When the borrower is ready to repay, but the lender is not ready to accept because of the greed for interest, and the borrower then deposits the money with a common person known both to them, in such case no interest would be paid by borrower to the lender. I think this is exactly the intention of the borrower to repay. The lender, because of his greed, is not taking. in such case the borrower will simply deposit that amount, and for that no interest will be charged. Then when loan is taken by any person of joint family and the same is used for benefit of joint family, in such case, even on death of the said person, if loan is pending, then all members of the joint family are liable for repayment. So friends, when a loan was taken by the joint family, a person takes a loan, he utilizes that for the joint family. So even if the borrower is expired, still as the money was utilized for the benefit of the joint family, it is the joint family who is liable to make the repayment of that particular loan. Now there is another concept as to when son is not liable to pay the loan of father. Let's see that. Loan not used for maintenance of family, drinking alcohol, gambling. So these are the three circumstances when a son is not liable for the debt of his father. Then when wife is liable to repay loan taken by her husband, when husband is on death bed, husband going to foreign country. So these are the circumstances which are written in the Yajnavalkya Smriti as to when son is not liable, when wife is liable for the repayment of the loan taken by her husband. Then he speaks on about sureties. Let's see what he speaks. There are three types of sureties. Person who is witness and knows about the loan given, person who gives confidence about the borrower to the lender, the person who on oath says that if borrower fails, he would repay. So friends, if you see these three particular things, as on today we are having only one concept, and that is if a person has assured as a surety in a loan document, only and only then he is liable to make the repayment if the borrower fails. But whereas the Yajnavalkya slightly went ahead and said that even if a person who have just assured somebody orally of a repayment by the borrower, he is liable. Further, a person knowing and having knowledge is also made liable. So friends, the repayment concept and the aspect of sureties is, it seems that it's slightly higher side on what it is today. Yajnavalkya treated sureties in different manner. Today we have only one kind of surety. So friends, this was regarding the loan transactions as to how they will be dealt, what are the concepts which prevailed in Yajnavalkya Smriti. In our next video, we will discuss about sealed deposits. Thank you.